Powercore 360 VolleyTalk. We're a little bit later than normal today, but that's all right. We're still Tuesday, and today we have a really fun, exciting topic that we have been teasing on our socials the past couple days, and that is our youth workshop that is now coming out for serving and hitting, which is super exciting. I know a lot of you guys were excited. So today we are going to do a deep dive into what does that mean? What do you get? What problems does it solve? And how the most important thing is how does it help you become a better athlete, especially for our youth players for 9 to 13-year-olds is what this product is for. So with us today is Kelly, who is going to be explaining everything about the youth clinic for us, doing a deep dive, and answering any questions that you guys also have for the youth clinic. So I'm really excited to get into this topic. If you have any questions about this youth workshop that we will be running that is online, 2 sessions, we will dive into that right now. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask at any point. So, Kelly, first of all, what is this youth workshop and why is Powercore offering it now?
Well, super cool. We have recognized that with our master classes that we have for the older age group, how well the athletes do and how far they develop their power hitting skills and vertical skills via Zoom sessions, training online. And a big population of kids that need help in the beginning parts of their volleyball career are those younger athletes, 8, 9 years old to 13. And what we're going to focus on is really helping them figure out and teach them in real time with coaching the mechanics for being able to serve the ball a lot harder and competitively, as well as hitting the ball. So that's what the focus of the clinic's going to be, or the program is going to be. We're going to work on starting with throwing so that we can really improve our mechanics of rotation. As you've heard Billy talk about many times, throwing is the foundation for any overhead sport and especially for volleyball. So we're going to start there, do some hitting on the ground, serving progressions, and then doing some down ball attacking as well. It's great because we're going to be utilizing the Powercore 360 hip harness gear, which I have used for years with many athletes. I think I've been using the Powercore 360 product to train my volleyball athletes probably for 6 or 7 years. And I have told Billy for several years, I even put it on my littles. So my 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 year olds were getting into that hip harness, and it really helps them figure out how to create power behind the ball when they're trying to serve aggressively. A lot of kids at this age, especially if they're not that, some kids come out of the womb and they're just super strong and really solid, and some kids are longer and lankier. They don't have a lot of core strength yet, and so using that hip harness is going to really help them figure out how to activate and use the muscles that they need to really contact the ball well and be aggressive on their serve. So
Yeah,
super exciting.
super exciting. I know when I was younger, this is something that I definitely could have used because I couldn't get my serve over for like 2 years. Like you said, I was one of those kids that was just lanky and didn't really have much core muscle, didn't know how to use my body, lots of different things. So I'm really excited to bring this to our youth athletes who are always asking for what can they do to get better? What should they do at this age? So I think that brings up a good question. Why should youth athletes, like, you say 9 to 13-year-olds, why should they care about, what we're trying to teach them versus just getting it over, hitting it anyway, or using their like shoulder or any weird kind of ways to hit the ball?
Right. That's a great question, Darian. I'm a firm believer, and I've coached the young age groups. I've gone to the national tournament with 11-year-olds and have done really well. And what we focus on is the mechanics of serving. I don't want a young athlete to, because you kind of, bodies will sort of try to figure it out, and you'll see kids serving and they do all sorts of crazy things with their body to try to get that ball over the net if they're not very strong. And what we really want them to do is start out with good fundamentals of that essential movement of rotating their body to get power behind the ball, to get the ball over the net. So, the reason we want them to do that is, number one, I don't want them to set themselves up for shoulder issues over time, right? And that young age, and playing from 8 all the way to 18, if you start out with good foundation of serving mechanics and throwing mechanics, you're going to take that into down balls, and then you're going to take that into the air. So you're setting yourself up to have really great mechanics from an early age. The crazy thing is that, um, what I see is that if you start out to use any motion that you can with your body to get the ball over the net, then as coaches, we spend hours and hours and hours trying to correct that to make them a consistent and effective server. So if we can give them good foundation and good movement patterns from the get-go, then they'll be able to start being that 10, 11, 12-year-old that's spot serving, that is serving float serve versus just getting it over the net serve. So that's my take on it. And as a PT, I really want them to learn to use their body well, so that they're not just using their shoulder and their arm, but foundationally, if they want to become a really successful server as they continue to grow and age up, it starts at 8. Starts at 8.
Yeah, absolutely. So we start at that young age. Can you kind of explain, we explained the importance of why we want these athletes to do it, but now can you explain what they will actually be doing in this kind of workshop that we say, and what all is included in it, and how does it work? I know there's some confusion maybe with how it's online. So how does that work and everything like that?
Sure. Okay. So let's start out with, how the heck do I do that at home, right? Well, we have, tried and true, done the master class for power hitting for the older age groups. We know that athletes can get better at home. You don't need a net. You don't need to be in a gym to improve your movement patterns and strength for hitting a volleyball. The same applies to serving. So the environment that they need to be in is an environment that has a, either like a tarp, a net that drops down. You could be in a gym if you wanted to be, but not necessary. Or like a rebounder, or anything that will just keep that ball from going forever after you hit it, right? So we'll start with them, at home. Some people are in their garage, some kids work in their basement. If you live in a better climate, you get to be outside. But again, you don't need to be in a gym. You just need to have either a net or a tarp or something for that to capture your ball as you hit and throw it. So that's key. And then of course, Wi-Fi. The group is going to be small. It's going to be six to 8 athletes max. And what we'll do is we'll lead them through the progressions of becoming a better server, right? So we're going to start with throwing, and just help them learn how to rotate their bodies and really create some speed behind the ball using their entire body versus just their arm. And as crazy as it seems, unfortunately, we're not outside throwing as much as we used to be. So a lot of kids don't really throw well. They might think they throw well, but they don't really throw well. They don't incorporate their whole body. Think of a baseball pitcher. They're using their entire body to put heat on that ball. It's not just their arm. So that's where we start. And then right away in the first session, we're going to go from throwing to using the same mechanics and hitting the ball. We'll be on our feet. First, we'll start with hitting the ball into something from a short distance, and then we'll slowly walk each athlete, depending on how they're doing, continue to walk them a distance away from their target net, right, or drop cloth. And we'll keep walking them back and progress them using the same mechanics. They don't get to change and go back to their old ways. We keep working at that distance that they can successfully contact that ball with some speed and get it to go the distance over the net. Of course, the goal is 30 feet behind the end line. But with the youth athletes, 12 and under, if they are, depending on what level they're playing, we can get into that step in line, which is about 7 feet to 10 feet inside the end line. But our ultimate goal will be every kid will be at that 30 feet mark serving the ball over the net. And what I have found in my work with young athletes is that if you start them at a shorter distance, work on good mechanics, and then slowly walk them back, they will get stronger and be able to get that ball over the net with some oomph behind it before you know it. So that's where we'll start with throwing and then hitting on the ground. And we'll take that into more specific serving as they achieve some better mechanics.
Sweet. So one question we got on Instagram is, when will this program start?
It is up right now.
Yeah.
It's the first session is September 29th. So this is how it works. So each, when you register, you get a hip harness system, right? And that we're going to use that to help us really figure out how to move our hips and then strengthen our body in that rotational pattern so we can get some more heat behind the ball, right? So you get a hip harness and the band to go with that. You get a mini volleyball, a mini Molten. So that's what we're going to use for throwing because we want it to be good hand size, and mini Moltens are a nice weight to start. And then the athlete will also get a volley light. And the reason we're going to use the volley light instead of the traditional ball is that it's lighter. And by using that lighter ball, it's going to help you be able to use those good mechanics, and that ball is going to travel a lot further in the beginning because it's so much lighter. And then 12 and under use that volley light to play anyway. So that's why we're setting that up with the volley light. So they get the hip harness, they get the mini Molten, they get the volley light, and then they get a training program that they will do in between our sessions. So the first session we'll do starts on September 29th. It'll be an hour and a half, right? And we'll lay down all the foundations. We'll get through all of the throwing and hitting progressions. And then the athletes will have a program that they will do. It's kind of like a follow along. There'll be video for them to follow so that they don't have to memorize everything that we did in the first training session. And then 2 weeks later, we're going to come back and we're going to do another 70 to 90-minute session where we go through the progressions again. We try to improve each athlete, like wherever they're starting from. Our goal is to get them to be either serving from behind the end line, or at least getting them to where they're being able to serve from that step in line, especially the younger athlete. So 2 sessions. The first one's on the 29th, and then the second one is on the 13th of October.
Yeah. So they have some time in between to work on basically what they're learning in the first session.
Correct, because we all know that, yes, if I were to give a one-on-one lesson with someone, I can make some significant improvements with an athlete in one session. But we can't maintain those improvements unless we continue to train the pattern. So we'll give them very specific drills that they will be doing between the 2 sessions so that we can progress them in the second session.
For sure. And what do you suggest for athletes? You know, we know volleyball season has started for a lot of athletes. Our younger athletes, their volleyball seasons are a little bit shorter, right? They're more like 8 weeks long. Are they able to do this while they're doing other activities, or how?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. The program we've set up is very specific and geared towards that strong serve and a strong down ball. So then what we want to do with that athlete is then over time take them into the air with those same mechanics. But this program and training is set up for making progress quickly, right? So how we're going to do that? Well, we have to do some training. It's 20 minutes of training that they're going to do 2 to 3 times a week in between our sessions, right? So that they can continue to progress while we're not together. And then that same training program can be used over time to continue to strengthen their serve, help them get more power behind the ball. So they will be able to continue to do it even beyond the um, the program that we're doing, even beyond the 2 sessions.
Yeah. So they'll be able to continue getting better at serving. And then hopefully one day, the progression would be either going to the master class or the clinic and really get into hitting
Right.
once they're a bit older and they are ready for the more advanced skills.
That's right. And we also have it into the works that so the whole idea, I think people sometimes don't really like put these pieces together, but the young athletes start on their feet, right? If you can't do it on your feet, you are not going to be able to do it in the air. So we really strengthen the patterns of attacking a ball. The serve is an attack, right? It's your first move in a match to try to create difficulty for the other side, right? So you're attacking your serve. So the mechanics of the serving and the down ball are the same foundational fundamental mechanics that then we're going to use with them getting them into the air. And the goal would be with these kids that do our serving and hitting program now is that we would then progress them into a initial program for getting into the air and attacking the ball as well.
Yeah. So we're really looking for, some young athletes here that are truly looking to get better at serving and hitting and really lay that foundation. Like we said, it's not like hours of training every single day. It's 20
No.
minutes, 3 times a week on 2 sessions. And that will be able to get you to being at an advanced level really for their age, right?
For sure. And I like I've said, I've coached a lot of young kids. My entire coaching career as a head coach in junior national has been the youth development piece of it all. And I've used this with my kids forever, and it makes a huge impact in their ability to generate power and speed behind the ball. Quick side story. So many years ago, I was at the national tournament and I was in my semifinal match at the national tournament, 11-year-olds in gold, right? So I'm headed to the championship, fingers crossed, right? So I come up against this team in my semifinals and I look at their record and I'm like, dang, no one has really scored against them. No one had gotten into double digits against this team. So of course I was like, okay, what is going on with this team, right? I had a really good team. So something had to be happening with this other group of kids. And we start the match and instantly, I know. You want to know what it was? It was their serving. These kids served the snot out of this ball, right? And fortunately, I had worked my kids hard enough that we were really great passers and we hung in there and we went to three and we just missed headed to the finals by just that third set. And but after the match I went up to the coach and I just said, great game. It was fun to play you guys. And he was complimentary that we were the only team at the tournament that had actually scored into upper double digits against them. And I asked him, I was like, what did you do to get your kids to serve that aggressively? And, he gave me some, information on that, just like teaching them to really go aggressive at the ball, teaching them to how to get power behind the ball, right? And that's what we do with this program. It's all about teaching them to really be aggressive and strong with the really good mechanics so then they can start being that team that can spot serve, serve hard at the 1, serve hard at the 5, let's do a short. Those things will come once they have that foundation of really good power to get that ball over the net in the first place. So fun little story on serving. That's
Yeah.
where it's at with this younger age group.
Mhm.
If you can serve, number one, you're going to score points. If you can serve, you're going to be on the court. And if your team can serve well, you're going to win matches for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for all of our young athletes or parents out there that have been waiting, I know we have gotten a lot of messages about when is something available. I have a younger athlete that we're really dedicated. this is your chance. You can do it from anywhere, which is going to be a really nice feature for a lot of
Yeah.
families, especially during this busy season of life, especially for our maybe siblings that have older siblings and everything. Every family's got so many things going on. So with that being said, this is a really good opportunity for a lot of families to do this training from home and get better at the same time.
Right.
And really become, like Kelly said, one of the most advanced for this age group, which is going to be amazing for you guys. In order to sign up, we have the link in the bio, also in our stories. You can just tap it there and you will check out there. And again, there is only, I believe, 6 or 8 spots available. How many
Yep.
spots is it?
It'll be 6 to 8 max.
Yes, 6 to 8 spots available. So if you're not one of those first 6 to 8 to sign up, then you're going to have to wait for the next session, which won't start until later in October, I believe. So you will have. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, keep going.
Okay, yeah. So if you are interested, you can always message us. We will always send you the link. But like I said, check stories, check the link in bio. And this is a really an exciting new offer. So if you guys have any questions or any concerns about this offer and you're confused about anything or how anything works, feel free to message us at any time, and we will be sure to answer those questions. So that way you know what's going on.
And do not let space be a deterrent to doing the program. You do not need to be in a gym. We have trained some amazing elite athletes in their homes. Most of the kids and collegiate and professional players that we work with, they're doing a lot of this stuff in their homes. They're not in a gym. So don't let that be a deterrent. If you have any questions about what the space needs to look like, or I don't know how I could do this, reach out. We're happy to help you, and I'm happy to share some photos and links to like what your setup could look like. And again, you don't have to spend $1 million on your setup. You really just need some sort of tarp or netting that can keep your ball from, traveling too far away from you, right? So that's all you're going to need for this program.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're excited to start this program with you guys. We're doing this for our community on our socials because it's something that we hear all the time. So make sure you sign up so that way we know that you guys are interested. And we look forward to working with you guys very
Yeah.
soon for this new offer. And thank you to everybody who joined today and asked any questions. And we will be